Prime Minister Mark Carney says he plans to meet with Chinese leader at APEC. So let me get this straight. After years of diplomatic freeze-outs, awkward G20 confrontations, and a trade war that's been hitting Canadian canola farmers harder than a prairie hailstorm, Mark Carney and Xi Jinping are finally sitting down for coffee? Well, not coffee. Probably some high-stakes diplomatic tea ceremony where one wrong sip could cost us billions. Welcome back to Canada Bulletin. We're breaking down why this meeting matters more than your morning Tim's run. And trust me, this story has more plot twists than a CBC drama series. What's up, Canada Bulletin fam? If you've been following Canadian politics lately, you know things have been, let's call it spicy with China. But here's the tea, literally happening at the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum in South Korea this week. Prime Minister Mark Carney is meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping. And before you say, so what? World leaders meet all the time. Hold up. This is the first formal meeting between Canadian and Chinese leaders since Justin Trudeau's 2017 visit to China. That's 8 years of frozen relations, folks. In political terms, that's basically a geological epoch. Today, we're diving into why this meeting is happening now, what's at stake for Canada, and whether Carney can pull off what Trudeau couldn't, actually getting China to play nice. So smash that like button, because this diplomatic drama is about to get real interesting. But first, let's rewind the tape and talk about how we got here, because this backstory is wild. Okay, picture this. It's December 2018. Holiday season. Everyone's feeling festive. And then, BM, Canada arrests Meng Wanzhou, the CFO of Huawei, at Vancouver Airport on behalf of the United States. Now, arresting a telecommunications executive sounds boring, right? Wrong. This was basically lighting a diplomatic powder keg. Because just days later, and I mean this timing is so suspicious it hurts, China arrests 2 Canadians, Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor. The Canadian government called it what it was, arbitrary detention. Translation? Hostage diplomacy. China basically said, you took our executive? Cool, cool, cool. We're taking your citizens. And what followed was what I like to call the Great Canadian-Chinese Cold War. 3 years of both countries giving each other the diplomatic silent treatment, while 2 innocent Canadians sat in Chinese detention, and relations plummeted faster than Bitcoin after an Elon Musk tweet. The only silver lining? September 2021. Meng cuts a deal with U.S. prosecutors, flies back to China, and, like a perfectly choreographed prisoner swap in a spy movie, Kovrig and Spavor are released hours later. Coincidence? Yeah, sure, and I'm the Queen of England. But even after everyone was safely home, things stayed frosty. Remember that legendary G20 moment in 2022 when she basically called out Trudeau in front of cameras for allegedly leaking their conversations? That clip went viral faster than a cat video. She told Trudeau there would be consequences for his lack of respect. Talk about awkward family dinner energy. Except the family is 2 global superpowers and the dinner table is the world stage. Asterisk. So yeah, relations were bad. But then Mark Carney walks into the Prime Minister's office, and suddenly everyone's talking about resetting expectations. What changed? Asterisk. Here's where it gets interesting. Mark Carney isn't Justin Trudeau. And I don't mean that as shade. I mean they have completely different styles. Trudeau was idealistic, values-forward, ready to lecture China on human rights. Carney? He's the former Bank of England governor. The guy who speaks fluent economics and thinks in trade balances. He's approaching China like a central banker approaches monetary policy, pragmatically, carefully, and with a lot of number crunching. Since taking office, Carney's been laying the groundwork. He met with Chinese Premier Li Qiang at the UN in September. Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand just wrapped up a visit to Beijing. His Parliamentary Secretary Cody Blois went to China with Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe. This isn't random. This is a strategy. Carney himself said it best. Relationships rebuild over time when they have changed for the worse. Translation? He knows you can't fix 8 years of diplomatic damage with one handshake and a photo op. This is the long game. And let's be real, Canada needs this relationship. China is the world's second largest economy. They're a massive trading partner. And while standing up for Canadian values is important, and it is important, completely freezing out 1/5 of the world population isn't exactly a winning economic strategy. So Carney's walking this tightrope, rebuilding relations without looking like Canada's rolling over, maintaining our principles while acknowledging we need to do business. It's like trying to be friends with your ex who still owes you money. Delicate, awkward, but sometimes necessary. Asterisk, but here's the million-dollar question. Actually, make that the billion-dollar question. What about this trade war that's been absolutely demolishing Canadian industries? Asterisk, oh, you thought we were done with drama? Nope. Let's talk tariffs, baby. Last October, Canada slapped a 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles and batteries. That's not a typo, 100%. We also hit solar panels, critical minerals, and other goods. Why? Because we followed the Biden administration's lead in trying to protect North American industries from cheap Chinese imports. China's response? Oh, you want to play that game? Yete. They came back with tariffs on Canadian canola, seafood, and pork products. And suddenly, prairie farmers and maritime fishers are caught in the crossfire of a trade war they didn't ask for. Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe and Manitoba Premier Wab Kinyu have been begging Carney to drop the EV tariffs to end this dispute. And honestly, I get it. These are provinces where agriculture is everything. When China stops buying your canola, that's not just statistics on a spreadsheet. That's farms going under, families losing livelihoods, entire communities hurting. But here's Carney's dilemma. If he drops the tariffs, he looks weak. Like China can just bully Canada into backing down. But if he keeps them, Canadian industries keep suffering while we wait for China to blink first. It's economic chicken, and nobody wants to swerve. When reporters asked Carney Monday if he'd drop the tariffs, he pulled the classic political dodge. I look forward to discussions with President Xi about a much broader set of issues than trade. Translation?